My name is Bryce McClaney with JB Custom Rods. I'm here with Josh Hooks of JB Custom Rods,
How you guys doing?
Angler. Josh, I'm going to run through the same 10 questions I ran through with Jesse with you. We already posted that one. It's up, so you had a chance to learn from his mistakes and kind of go with us from there. So the first thing, obviously it's your rookie season right on MPFL. Obviously come from a good background fishing these lakes around here. You've had a lot of good experiences with a lot of different bodies of water and stuff. Finished 23rd in Angler of the Year standings in your first year out. How do you build on that success this year moving forward?
Honestly, it's just, it's about time on the water. Like a lot of people, don't really realize how important it is to, stay on them and, fish even when you're around here. And obviously I really think a lot of your success too is making the most out of your practices. You got to try to cover all the, all the avenues, they could be shallow, deep, whatever. And obviously it helps too to have good travel buddies that you can talk with and it kind of narrows it down. But really, like I said, looking forward to this year. The no forward facing sonar is going to be a little different. And I'm looking forward to it personally. So.
It's going to be, there's going to be a few things coming this year with MPFL that are really going to shake things up, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I just kind of wanted to quiz you about this past year first, 2024, your first year out there traveling the country, fishing professionally. Which stop from 2024 do you think, like you look back and you say, this one really challenged me the most? Like this one just, it was hard for me to figure these fish out.
Yeah, honestly, the first one of the year was, it was just mentally tough. You're only getting 4 or 5 bites a day. I knew if I could get 4 or 5 bites a day, but it's hard to fish knowing you're only going to get 4 or 5 bites a day. But it's just something, you kind of got to lock something in your hands and just, cover as much water as possible. That was my first learning experience, in regards to that. As far as the toughest mentally tournament, Murray, when my batteries died, with 8 minutes left right in front of the ramp, that was... that one really hurt me because that probably cost me a top 10 in points and a lot of money. But it's one of those things that happens. The rest of the year, everything, all my equipment worked great. So it's hard to be mad at it. But I can promise you it won't happen again.
And that also answers probably one of my next questions, which is which tournament do you feel like you left the most on the table? For whatever reason, lost fish, dead batteries, whatever. Probably hard to top Murray, but is there any more that you feel like you really kind of just left a lot on the table?
The first day at Pickwick, I lost 2 5-pounders, and I had 22 pounds the second day, or 20 the second day, and then 22 the third day. Those 2 fish put me in the top 5, 10.
Definitely could have cost
honestly,
you.
The one that really hurts me the most was Saginaw. I went out the last day in 7th place. I was, on a really big school of smallmouth, and when I got there, they were gone. I literally drove an hour and a half, got there, shut the boat off, and they were gone. There's nothing, no rhyme or reason, smallmouth fishing, I guess, but and I spun out. I had some areas where there was less fish that I probably could have, keened in on and caught 5, but I ended up catching 2, and then I was panicked, so I went largemouth fishing. And when I did that, I didn't realize how many people had abandoned the smallmouth and went, so I was just fishing behind people.
Getting behind.
So, and then, just mentally, that just drags you down so bad. But, I love catching smallmouth though, so I went for it.
So which event this year would you say was your favorite event? Where's the place you went that you definitely want to go back to?
I want to go back to Hartwell. That place, if you want to take a kid fishing and catch something, that place has got them. You can catch, I was catching 60 to 70 probably a day.
Wow.
And the amount of fish you see, obviously we won't be able to have that, in the future, like chasing your stuff and that kind of. You throw a topwater out and there's 40 of them, wow. As fast as you can work it, they're trying to blow it out of the water. And it's a cool place, and the fact that it's close to home, it's not too far away, it's nice. But
huge body of water too.
Yes,
it pales in comparison, like Carr even pales in comparison to the size of Hartwell.
Yeah, I fished one part of the Seneca River, and I felt like I was 10 miles away from civilization, and I was only on one little part of it. So so it's a big body of water. A lot of those bodies. Saginaw. the first day of the tournament, I rode in some really, like, if my wife saw the video that I had, she wouldn't let me go back because
it might be getting him in trouble here. We better
it
slow
was
down.
sketchy. I mean, I was, I was spearing waves because I was fishing on the west side, and a lot of guys were running the east bank, but they're running over flats and stuff, and I just went right down the middle slow. Caught a couple over the bow, but it was sketchy. It was fun though. When I got there, it was fun.
Yeah. So switching gears to this year now, 2025. So Tommy Biffle, Zach Burge, Hank Cherry, Jason Christie, Greg Hackney, Gerald Swindle. The list goes on. Like, how excited are you that these guys are coming to MPFL and you get the chance to go toe to toe with some of the best in the business, honestly?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's awesome. I mean, the MPFL, I think, is going to be the next greatest here shortly. I mean, a lot of people like the format, and the culture, the family culture that they build in there. I mean, like, it's the most well-run tournament. I mean, there is no other tournament you can fish where you got somebody parking your truck, taking you to your truck. I mean, everybody's nice, but in regards to those names, like, I mean, it was cool this year to fish, David Fritz, like a local, North Carolina legend. But now you got, Jason Christie, just won a Bassmaster Classic a couple years ago. I mean, Chandler Hugh, Justin Atkins, all those guys will be there. I mean,
yeah, I just listed a few. I looked at the roster last night and I was like, wow, this is amazing how MPFL is really taking off now. To look at it over the last
Swindle and Hackney. I mean, those guys are gonna shine. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I mean, but I'm looking forward to it. I've always had a dream to fish against those guys. So I mean, it's come to fruition really. So.
Who are you most excited, would you say, to fish against?
I just want to follow Hackney down the bank one time. I just want to see it.
Understandable, yeah.
Sorry, Hackney, I might be behind you one day, and I won't be fishing. I'll be watching.
So looking at 2025 as well, and the events on the slate for this year, which event are you looking to and saying that's what I'm really excited about?
I mean, I think we're going to places where they're going to be biting. I mean, Santee's is going to be a little, early spring stuff. I mean, but I think if you find the right areas, I mean, that's going to take some weight, I think, to win that one. But if I had to pick one as far as like what my strengths are, I mean, I really love the smallmouth fish. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to St. Lawrence, and I think they're going to be done spawning there too. So we should be good. I don't like the bedfish. But I'm not a big Norman guy. I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, I've fished Norman. I've had good luck there. But I would say out of all of them, St. Lawrence would be.
Yeah, it's hard to top that, really. I mean, I've never been, but honestly,
yeah, you hear so many stories.
Watching it, seeing watching the pros out there, it looks like it's just this awesome body of water. Yeah, I've been pretty psyched about that one too.
The fact with no forward-facing sonar, I mean, that's going to be another one where it's going to change that game because a lot of guys are out there, shaking a minnow or doing that kind of stuff. So it'll change it a little bit, I'm sure, as far as weights and whatnot, but still going to be fun.
Pretty awesome event. Yeah, definitely. So let's talk tackle a little bit now. So as far as this past year, what would you say were some of your go-to setups over the past year that you used and they just worked in a lot of places?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I caught a lot of fish this year on a chatterbait, and I caught a lot of fish this year on a drop shot. Obviously, some of these clear water lakes like Murray and Hartwell, and obviously, Saginaw, drop shot being a smallmouth staple too. I mean, but like I said, that's going to change too. But, a chatterbait at Logan Martin, that's how I caught every one of my fish, fishing boat ramps and docks and stuff. And then at Ozarks, I caught a ton on a chatterbait around docks and the swim jig. But, I mean, really, just keying in on bait fish this year was kind of the thing. I mean, everywhere we went. So, I mean, a chatterbait and a drop shot, I'd say, were two that I had on my deck every time. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a big crankbait and jig fisherman, so they were on there too.
So, which of our rods would you say, as a JB Custom Rod Pro staff member, obviously you got a ton of our rods, but what were those ones that you were like, this one's always on the deck no matter where I am or what I'm doing?
I'm going to tell you that chatterbait with the Orochi is a bad mamma jamma. So if you don't have one, you need to get one. But so that one is probably, and that rod's somewhat new, within the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it is. But I mean, obviously the snake I mean, I have 3 of those probably on the deck at all times because you can pick that rod up and tie anything on it. I feel like within reason and catch fish on it. So that's always on the deck.
But keeping those Swiss Army knife type rods, which the Orochi and the snake. I mean, you can do a lot of different things in bass fishing with those 2 rods.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going back to the Orochi. The amount of feel you have on like a chatterbait or a bladed jig. I mean, it's just crazy. When I was at Logan Martin, you drew it down those boat ramps, and like I said, you weren't getting a lot of bites, so it's you're bored, and then all of a sudden you just feel the blades get a little sketchy, and it's the big spots would eat it, and I mean it's crazy how much how sensitive. I mean, when you're about to get a bite, that's awesome.
And it is, a chatterbait bite can be either in the spectrum. It can be just like, wham, I'm killing this thing and I hate it, or it can be just you feel that vibration change a little bit and it gets a little heavy. So having that sensitivity there really, it's key. Sometimes we think chatterbait fishing, we think they just crush it, but there's a lot of days where a lot of guys are getting bites they don't even know they're getting because they're not using a rod that's sensitive enough to be able to show that.
And people don't think it makes a difference, but I mean I'm here to tell you it definitely does.
So obviously we've touched on it a couple of times now, but I just want to get like your full take on this. So no FFS for MPFL events this year, not even in practice, right?
Yeah.
You can't use it at all. Let's talk a little bit about how that kind of changes things and what you expect to see with MPFL this year versus like MLF and Bassmaster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the fact that we can't use it. I mean, it's going to change the way that that everybody fishes. Really, I mean, like you said, even not in practice. I mean, you can't even go and check what brush piles or whatever have fish in them and that kind of stuff, which I love. I mean, I grew up fishing. Back when we had the 520C Lowrance. We didn't have side scan, so I mean, we used to triangulate a lot and that kind of stuff. So it's like I'm looking forward to it. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a change of scenery. I mean, like I was just talking about with St. Lawrence, so there'll be smallmouth schools swimming around, and you have no idea. I mean, you're just fishing bottom, and maybe trying to catch some spinning wood, but it's going to be different. I mean, the lakes are going to set up, to catch fish regardless. I mean, you can't use it. You gotta accept that, that portion of it. But I'm looking forward to it though. It's back to old school, and I'm looking forward to fishing against some of those guys that they grew up.
And you think it'll come a little bit more down to finding the pattern, or you think it'll still be more of a I'm going to find a group of fish and stick with them, or just from your perspective, I know everybody's a little bit different, but what do you think's the biggest? And it seems like so long ago that we all had to actually go out and really, really work hard and find. And not that you don't have to work hard with FFS. That's the misconception.
It's not as easy.
It's not as easy as some guys make it. And it comes out here and there, but it's a very different way you approach your day. Obviously, if you've got a screen sitting in front of you that can show you what's in front of you, regardless if it's fish or structure.
It's like at Murray. Any other time in the fall, I'd start out throwing a buzzbait on the bank, and first thing I did was go out in front of the boat ramp and drop my trolling motor. I mean, if we were doing it, I knew it was that's how I was going to have to catch them to win. Just after practice, but I honestly, there's restrictions on bass on transducers and units, and I think MLF they can use it one period and whatnot. So, I mean, but they can also practice with it, so that that portion of it's a little bit better on their favor if you're for it. But I eventually seeing it being regulated more. I mean, I think obviously MPFL was the first one to do it, but I think everybody sees these guys coming over because they're tired. They're tired of people that they feel like don't doesn't have enough talent. They're just out there looking at their thing, which, like you said, it's not that. I mean, being good at forward facing sonar is really hard. I mean,
that's the misconception. It's easy. It's so easy. A caveman can
those guys that are catching them are so accurate with that stuff, and they know what they're looking at, and they can tell when they're about to get bit, so.
But as far as pure entertainment value, and I think this is well documented, you're watching a guy staring at a screen all day fishing on a live feed, or you're watching, like you said, Greg Hackney going down a bank just tearing it apart and shredding it. And I think the entertainment value is going to be one of the biggest. People are going to want to see what MPFL is doing this year, just because they're going to get to see.
Oh, it would definitely draw. I'm sure the coverage will be. I mean, like I said, some lakes the weights may be down, but like I feel like when a guy like dials it in and finds like where the fish are or want to be, like it's going to make for some good TV. But going back to like that, like I despise like shaking a minnow, and I was fishing at Murray, and like Corbishley came up to me and was like, "Dude, this is terrible." And I was like, "I want to go home. Like, this is not my style, dude."
My neck hurts from looking down.
I mean, that's one thing. I'll be able to look that way instead of like this.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Look at where you're casting instead of
probably half the reason I got bad back problems and stuff.
But Josh, I appreciate your time. I know you got a lot to do this weekend, and I wish you the best of luck this year on the trail. It's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, hopefully we can bring back one of those shields to North Carolina this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.